Hello and welcome to the fourth and final episode of the Getting Started on Bitget tutorial series. We have gone over how to create an account, we've gone over how to fund it, we've gone over how to reach the spot trading portal, and we have even talked a little bit about how to make a technical analysis plan so you can make an informed decision on where you might be interested to take an investment or get out of your investment. But now let's say you do want to actually start trading. And that is where the portal comes into play, and in this episode we will focus on the different market orders that you can choose in order to take trades from. So as you can see on the right side currently we have our trading portal where we can initiate trades. This is on the right side. Below is the place where we can manage our trade. For now, this episode will focus on how to execute your first trade. As you can see on the spot over here, I'm not going to cover the cross and isolated for now, because we are trading spot, which essentially encompasses the concept of simply buying and holding an asset low and selling it at a higher price. So as you can see in this trading portal, we have a few options that we can do. The first thing we need to determine is, do we want to buy an asset or do we want to close out of a position that we already are in? So let's say if I'm holding Bitcoin and I want to transfer that, I want to get back into a stable coin, then I might want to sell my Bitcoin, right? So that's the first choice that you have to make. Do I want to buy or do I want to sell? And it will bring you automatically nicely color coded so you cannot really get confused about it, directing you what to do. I'm just going to cover the buy part, and I am going to talk mainly about the different order types. There's an important choice that you need to make. The first option that you have is a limit order. The second option that you have is a market order. The third one is a one cancels the other, which is a little bit more advanced and does exceeds the scope of this episode. Or you have a trigger order, which executes a specific order if certain conditions have been met. In this episode, I'm going to talk about limit, market, and trigger. Let's start off with limit. Limit order means that you are becoming a maker. What that means is if you place a limit order, it will be set in the order book waiting for it to be filled. Now, this is being appreciated by the exchange because as a matter of fact you are providing liquidity for the exchange. So if you use a limit order, what it will do is, first of all, it ensures you that your order gets executed at the specific price that you want. So let's say I want to buy one Bitcoin at $26,000. By setting a limit order, I can set that very specifically. Let's say I want to set one BTC on $26,000. The moment that I click on buy, it will place an order right here at $26,000 and it will execute exactly at that price level, right? So as a matter of fact, you will provide your order to the order book and Bitget rewards you for that in the sense that you have to pay less fees for that. Now the other option, let's say you do not want to wait for the price to come to that specific price point and you just want to get in right away. That is where a market order really comes in handy, because what you can do is simply buy one Bitcoin right here, right now, and you would buy it at the market price, meaning that your order will be executed instantly and just takes from the order books whatever is available at the current price. This can be very helpful if you want to get into a position immediately. One of the downsides of this is that in heavy fluctuations in the market, this can result on your order fully getting filled, not on an exact price point, as it just takes whatever is available at the moment. Now the difference with the limit order is that opposed to a limit order where you place an order within the order book, if you execute a trade at market order, you actually take from what is available in the order book. And therefore the fees are slightly higher than a limit order in exchange for getting into the market quicker than with a limit order. So those are two really important options that you need to take into consideration. There are pros and cons to each order type, and use it as you wish. Now, lastly, we have a trigger order. This is often used, for example, as a stop loss. I think that's the best example. I think in the case of a stop loss, that is probably the best example. What this really means is that you can set a certain condition, right? Where if price, let's say, reaches $25,000, that it automatically triggers, for example, a market order where you can get kicked out of your order. So in this case, I want to trade a breakout to the downside, right? I've identified this maybe as a support level, and I simply want to get into a trade once a certain price level has been hit. So next up, I'm going to cover the trigger order, which is essentially an order type that only triggers if a certain condition has been met. Let's say Bitcoin is dropping down in price and you're at the moment not sure whether you should buy or whether you should do something. Maybe you want to take a little bit more of a conservative approach. So let's say Bitcoin drops to the downside, but you might be interested if it actually manages to reclaim a level, for example. What you can do if Bitcoin, let's say, drops here, you can set a conditional order where you can say like, okay, if Bitcoin reclaims $27,000, for example, I would like to execute a market order of 1 Bitcoin. Now what this does is you can then wait for price to actually show a sign of strength first, and then if a certain price point has been hit, then you buy back into the market, which can be very helpful if, let's say, you are just not sure whether this is going to drop further or if you simply take a more conservative approach. And with that, we have now all the most important order types covered, and this should get you up and running to trade on the Bitget exchange. Have fun!